and the next one I went to was West Virginia. 6 years later.
6 years later. Why didn't you go to the ones in
well,
between?
I was in. I got busted in Arizona in February of 1976, and they scheduled my trial around the 4th of July and wouldn't let me leave the state.
Why didn't you go in 75?
So then 70. Oh, I'll tell you, I didn't go to Arkansas because I wouldn't go down to the South with her. See, I had a record already.
Yeah. Okay.
You got what I'm saying? And I wouldn't go in the South with her. And I never had heard from him again.
Really?
You know, I never knew nothing about him again until I ran into him in San Francisco. But
Washington Gathering, though.
Washington, right? Pardon me. Excuse me. Right. Pardon me. Right. That's true. You're right.
So the next one you went to was Virginia, 6 years later.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is that they then they found me guilty in July, but they permitted me. The judge permitted me to leave the state on my own OR pending sentencing and scheduled my sentencing. And I then went, you know, with grassroots on the road in '76, collecting the 90-some-odd thousand signatures on college campuses and stuff, to only get arrested again as a fugitive because of a conflict with my lawyer and stuff. Extradited back to Arizona in '77, so I spent '77, '78, '79 in prison. July. No, 79 of July, I got out, but I was on parole, and I had decided to jump my parole and get to New York and tell Bill Kunstler, I'm not going off the island until you get my discharge, so don't worry about it. I won't be in any trouble. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just hiding out. And I went to San Francisco, and on the 4th of July, I was in with a marvelous woman in northern Montana, without another human being, maybe in 5 miles. After being in prison, where the radio was never off, where the sound is of a motor, the dripping water, the rattling of keys, and I was in a joint where 22 guys got killed, prisoners killing each other. No guard got killed, and no one was killed by a guard in 18 months while I was down there. So I was really ready for big sky country, and we had a huge tree, like a 300-year-old oak tree or something, some kind of a hardwood tree that we camped out underneath and ate mushrooms and ran for like half a mile in the fields, nude in every direction. Just, you know, I got it all out of my system, and in 5 rides from there, we hitchhiked and we're in New York. And so my first venture out of New York was to go to the West Virginia Gathering. And I pulled into Goshen or someplace in Virginia.
New York here?
No, Goshen, I think, in Virginia. Or West Virginia anyway. There's a little town, and then you go through this little town, and you had to go. As I remember, there was like a wall. I was on this wall hitchhiking because it's the only place that I could see that anybody could see me. And I got a ride from there, and just as soon as I sat down in the car, the news went on that 2 women had been killed, and rainbow, and I was like, phew, welcome to the club. I mean, I've been gone for 6 years. I've been in prison. I've heard how great those gatherings were. 76 Montana. I mean, I helped plan the 76 one. You know, the thing with Medicine Story at the vestibule, at the marching around with the Canadians and the Blackfeet coming down, that was all planned at Healing Waters. He had the vision there, and we talked about it and what would be the logistics of that, because he knew I knew a little bit about law and orders and stuff. And you ask him, it was the council, Stephen Gold, a bunch of us, all saw that his vision, you know, when he started talking about what he thought the bicentennial meant to him and being the last of his clan and stuff, and now going to be at this gathering in Montana. It was it was the spring of '76 that was planned, or I mean the logistics of putting his vision into shape was essentially planned. If that's what someone has to,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. You gotta do
When
it.
you got guys over 30 or women either one that have listened in countless circles and stuff, there's all I really wish vision circles were vision circles and heart song circles were heart song circles and councils were councils instead of the blend of the three with the daily welcome to the club council that should be broken down to work, play, food, and other or something like that, just for openers. But anyway,
But it all gets done.
yeah, true. But anyway, this in this particular thing, we in getting the name Medicine Eagle and being in Utah and then coming to West Virginia and walking right on the land and knowing people right away and I crack backs and teach breathing, and in those days I just I felt like I used to feel like that the gathering was a huge sponge, and that if you came as a drop of water, you could, like, essentially lubricate someone else's dry bones, or I don't know how to put it, but it was like, I never came to the gatherings looking for my healing. The gathering was not the place I went to because I didn't have any place else to go. It was the place I went to because it was the only place I could share what I had and know that I didn't need a license. No one would ask me whether I had a blood test. No one would say, where did I learn? I mean, they would ask you where you learned that or how you did that and stuff, but it was not in an interrogative or an investigative fashion. So I never worried about
Well, what are you doing?
the dynamics of a perfect stranger in the nude that you've never seen before, and you're in the nude, and it's a female, and you're on the trail, and you just can't stand to see how she's standing there, and you tell her, may I crack your back? Or what's even worse, just walk up behind her and tell her, sister, just relax. Flop their back, and have them just stand there and quiver, and you have to hold them like this while they, this is the first time in their life anybody's cracked their back. And people say, well, that's, I remember going through a whole thing one year about how that was just like my loud voice. It was aggression. If you had, ever had ear damage or you were a very sensitive person, Mike Moran's voice at night at 3 o'clock in the morning arguing about the marijuana issue can be fucking. And I got this whole lecture about.
Yeah.
Oh, so I know, I know for sure that I can stare at some kids and stop them from doing what they're doing just by the sternness of my steel blue eyes.
That's right.
So,
Well, some people even get upset by a loud boom shankar boladat.
oh yes,
Boom shankar boladat.
boom, Shankar Boladat. Baba's name, this one.
Ganesh. Boom shankar boladat.
And then 9 in the nose. Take it down. Tight. Now bring it up. Do it flushes. Do you feel it all over you? And just let it out.
That's good practice.
Practice, he says. Practice like that will make you perfect in the hereafter.